Okay, when's season 4? What is up, Netflix fans, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a spoiler-free review of Money Heist Part 3. Now, I didn't get a chance to talk about the first 2 seasons of this show. Just a quick recap. Thoroughly enjoyed them. Season 1 is still my favorite out of those 2, but today we're talking about Part 3. Just dropped on Netflix. You guys can do subbed or dubbed, whichever one you prefer. I actually do subbed because I prefer the original audio. You get more out of the performances that way. Regardless, we're talking about it. I need your comments down below. Let me know, did you enjoy this series, and are you up for a spoiler review? If you are, I'll do it. I don't want to do it right now because the show literally just came out this morning and I woke up super early to binge it. Okay. Let's talk about it. So when Rio is captured, a distraught Tokyo turns to the professor for help. Armed with a bold new plan, they unite the team in order to rescue him. Well, they actually reunite the team, right? You get to the end of season 2 and you're like, okay, that was awesome. They're probably going to do a part 3 because of how popular this is, but what route are they going to go down? How are they going to get this team back together? And you see it at the beginning of episode 1 in this season. Tragedy strikes, the character of Rio is taken, and the team has to come together. Now, what I love about Money Heist in general is you have a group of peculiar robbers coming together to consistently do things that no one expects them to do, accomplish, or pull off. They say it in the last season, they say it in this season. We can do the impossible. What is impossible to some is not impossible to us, and you feel that chemistry. And this is a show all about the characters. If you don't gravitate towards whatever specific character is your favorite, or just the group in general, and you don't buy their chemistry, the show is not going to work. And that's one thing that I think season 3 continues to bring you as a fan of this show. If you are a fan of this show, now, I do know some people that were disappointed in season 2. I still thoroughly enjoyed season 2. And I was worried, like I said, going into the season, because what are they going to do now? I wanted them to go bigger, but I wanted them to keep the quality of the prior seasons, and they absolutely go bigger. Don't get me wrong, what they did in the first 2 seasons, that was pretty big. Carrying out the most perfect robbery in history, 2.4 billion euros, I believe. You can fact check me on that. Yeah, that was pretty impressive, but what they do here, man, this is massive. The reunion of the group, which I thought was actually based on a good reason. Each member was represented in a way that carried their character forward, and you see it in the first episode, right? There's a scene where Tokyo and the professor are having a conversation, and I just felt the raw emotion. And I love how they just throw you back into the show. They don't waste time building up character traits that we don't need for what's about to take place. And then in episode 2, the heist gets going, stakes start to get ramped up, and they begin to try to pull off this impossible task of saving. And all of this is for one person. That shows you how important the team or the family aspect is to this group of individuals. You can feel that, and every time they have a conversation, even if it is getting heated and it looks like 2 characters are about to go at it, there's one scene in particular, I believe it's in like episode 3 or 4, when 2 characters are about to go at it, and what they're arguing over is completely ridiculous. It has to do with farting. But then there's this moment of calmness afterwards, and yes, all of these individuals, they're clearly hotheads, and even though they may be in this for the right reasons, they're still doing something that's completely illegal. Now, in the first few episodes, yes, you get thrown into the plot, like I said. It's not as high-stakes thrilling as season 1 in the first few episodes. It does take a bit longer to gain momentum, but once you have that momentum, you are full speed ahead, full throttle going forward, and there are multiple action scenes that stand out from a cinematography perspective. Once again, as Season 1 and Season 2 brought us, the camera movements and the shot selection, all of that is really good. I think technically this show still has the brilliance that it's had in prior seasons, but the standout action scenes like I was talking about, there's one scene in particular, an underwater heist sequence, which I thought was just thrilling and captivating. It kept me on edge. But the story aspect that hooked me and really kept me on edge the most this season, there are new characters introduced. I thought they were interesting. Some things going on with the professor that was really fun to go back into and kind of get you away from all the drama happening over here. One scene in particular that I thought had really great tension. It's the story that I think is focused on the least when all of the action is happening, and that's the relationship between Tokyo and Rio when they are together in the show. I found it fascinating because they are two completely different individuals who want different things in life, but they love each other so much. She wants to be here, he wants to be there, and I find that relationship so intriguing. You see it build up in other seasons, and in this season, there are some things that happen. There's a moment at the end of episode 6. I'm not going to say what it is, what it has to do with if you haven't watched the season yet, but it was so emotional, and the whole time I'm sitting on edge like, all right, something's about to happen. Something's about to happen. Not going to spoil whether it happens or not, but it was just wonderfully executed. The movie, the tone, everything. And speaking of tone, there are times in this season where they try to go a little too cheesy, a little too funny. Don't get me wrong, I love the quirky nature of this show. As serious as it gets, there are times where they inject humor, and I think it works really well. In this season, I didn't feel like it flowed as well as prior seasons. There are some jokes that didn't work. There are some uncomfortable conversations that are being talked about to make us feel uncomfortable. Some of that dialogue, it just felt like it was impeding on the story that they were trying to tell. It took away from the seriousness. And if I have a critique of this season, it is that, and that certain side characters didn't get the fleshing out that I think they required. And there were some conversations that maybe extended episodes to be a bit longer than they needed to be. But those are just minor nitpicks for a show that I still thoroughly enjoy. I think part 3 of Money Heist is absolutely worth watching, and when you get to the end, you will be shocked with what happens. It properly sets up things to happen in the future, and you're going to be left like, just out of breath. That's how I felt at the end of Money Heist Part 3. If I do a spoiler video, I'll talk about it more in depth, but the gut punch. Here's what I need from you guys. Comment an emoji down below of your face during the final few scenes in the last episode. I would love to see that. Overall, guys, I recommend Money Heist Part 3. If you watch the first 2 parts, of course you're going to watch this. I got an absolute thrill out of coming back to these characters and just going on another adventure with them. I'm gonna go 80% for Money Heist Part 3. By the way, I don't have reviews on this channel of the first 2 parts because I actually just recently watched them. I started about 2 months ago just watching 1 episode a week or 1 episode every few days, and I had a great time with it. Thank you guys for all of the recommendations. I can't thank you enough. Even though I'm trying to watch everything I possibly can and review it on Netflix, you're always coming in with these incredible recommendations. Don't worry, Sacred Games, I'm coming. I'm working on it. I appreciate everything you guys do. Working on Typewriter as well as another review this weekend, and then my Lion King live action movies ranked. We're gonna see how that turns out. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll see you very soon.